Hello, let's talk about how to form an LLC in the United States if you're not a resident in this country, or if you are a resident in the United States but you want to form a company in some other state than the one where you're physically located, then this video will be useful hopefully to you as well. If you already know which state you want to form a company in, then I suggest you check out my guides that are specific to those states, and there you will see the links and the forms. But for now, we're just going to talk about the general considerations. So, why would you want limited liability company? You probably already know, is to limit your personal liability. In case anything goes wrong, creditors will only be able to sue the company, but not you personally for your personal assets. If the company doesn't have much in it, then creditors will be pretty much out of luck unless there is evidence of fraud and things of criminal nature. So the advantages of USA, yes, reputation, it's better than the exotic offshore companies. If legitimacy is your concern, privacy. In certain states like Delaware, Wyoming, Nevada, you don't have to disclose who the company owners are if you don't want to. The state only receives your registered agent information. This is basically your hired address and hired mailbox service. Their address goes on everything and their name as well. So if you wish to remain completely anonymous, then this is possible in some states in the United States. Low costs, yes, also. Usually LLCs can be formed, the fees are in between $100 and $300. Delaware has low fees, but the gotcha they have there is that to amend anything after you file, it costs more than to actually file it, 3 times more. It's $100 to file, but if you want to change the name of that company, then it's $200 normal processing, which can take 3 weeks easy. Or you have to pay extra $100 in Delaware to get it processed within 24 hours. The total cost will then be $300 just to do an amendment in Delaware, whereas somewhere like Wyoming, you can do it instantly for $25. So that's why Delaware is the classic good choice, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's getting expensive and it's getting slow, unfortunately. So the low bureaucracy factor is not great in Delaware anymore, but still there are plenty of states where this is the case. California also would not be an example of a good state for low fees and low bureaucracy. Tax obligations, let's talk about that. So generally speaking, single member LLC is a disregarded entity, and if you're a foreigner, the taxes, you will not have to pay taxes in the United States unless you have effectively connected income with a US trade or business. If you are from a country with which the United States has tax treaty, if you are from one of those countries with which America signed a treaty for the avoidance of double taxation, then you will not be subject to tax in the United States for the income that the LLC receives from customers in the United States, unless you have so-called permanent establishment in the United States, which basically means office, employees, not just some marketing agent or people that are doing your SEO or taking orders in the United States. All of that does not count as a sufficient permanent establishment to tax you in the United States. So this is the good advantage of forming American LLC, doing business in America, but taking advantage of the treaty and not paying taxes in the United States. You can read more on my blog about the taxation. So let's go through the actual steps to open. Well, first you determine the state, see how much privacy you want, what are the costs. Costs are pretty much the same everywhere, but some of the gotchas I mentioned is to amend after you file. In Delaware, it can be 10 or more times to do it than in some other states. And the states are pretty much the same when it comes to everything else in the process, meaning once you choose the name, you check the availability on the Secretary of State of that state where you are forming a company to see if the name available. Generally speaking, LLCs must end in LLC, limited liability company, limited. Okay, so the next step is you need the registered agent. And this is your official address, this is your mailbox. To find one, just look for registered agent in whatever state you want. And you will see them coming up for as low as $29, $50 per year. I'm not going to advertise any of them, but it's easy to find. So once you have that, you are ready to form an LLC. So go to Secretary of State's website, find forms to form an LLC. Usually it's called Certificate of Formation, and it's usually a very simple form in all states. In Delaware, it's just 2 questions. One is the name of your company. 2 is the name and address of the registered agent that you just got for $50 a year, let's say. That's it. You sign it, you submit it online. That's the best way. And depending on how much you paid, it'll be done within a day or a week or a few weeks, depending on the state and whether you filed online or by mail. Best is, of course, to do it online. So after the Secretary of State approves your filing, your LLC officially will be ready, and you're ready to start using it. Although I suggest you apply for EIN as well. If you have an SSN or ITIN or another EIN, then it's really easy to apply online. You can do it in 15 minutes right here. If not, then find somebody who has either of those numbers, and they can act like your representative to get the number.